So today I decided to make a video to talk about emotional eating. Um, it is like one of the biggest things that I am hearing from many post weight loss surgery patients, and um, and I decided that I'm dedicating. I'm going to I'm going to dedicate my dissertation on studying emotional eating and trying to find an intervention that will help reduce emotional eating. So, as many of you know, and some don't know, I am a doctoral student in a PhD program for clinical psychology. So I'm on my year 4. I have one more year of classes, 1.5 year of classes more, and another year of internship. And so I have to finish my dissertation, and I want to finish dissertation at my next 1.5 year before I start my internship. And so what I'm trying to do is trying to see if heart rate variability biofeedback reduces emotional eating. So first, I'm going to talk about what I think, what emotional eating is, not only what I think, but what emotional eating is and what has been defined as, and what I think triggers emotional eating and why. So, emotional eating, it's basically the most simple definition is you are emotionally eating if you are eating in response to something that is not hunger. That is a basic definition. And usually the emotional eating, it's usually is a response to negative emotions, but it could be a response to boredom and also to good emotions. So it's you're using the food to so let's talk about the positive emotion. So let's say you got a promotion, you it's your birthday, and what you do, you go out for dinner, and food and that big great event is at that point linked to the emotion. So the food is, it's a link for that. So when I made a video this a long time ago that speaks like we've learned we are programmed to link food with reduction of negative emotion, because when we are kids, babies, we don't know how to talk, and we are in need, we are hungry, or we have some colic, or we are, dirty or something. What is the baby's communication style? Baby cries, right? And then when the baby cries, what happens? The caregiver, the mom, or you know whoever the caregiver is, picks the baby up and then holds you up, and it's going to give you love, and many times gives you food. So the food is kind of okay, so every time I'm hungry I get this. So you kind of get programmed to link food to many of the emotions in your life. And then society also, and it's an American thing, to eat ice cream when you are upset. The boyfriend breaks up with you, you're upset. We watch the movies, the girl is there eating ice cream. Um, so there is a learning experience about associating food with decrease bad or negative emotions. Even when somebody's bored, like I have nothing to do, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna eat something, a bag of chips when you're home, or my boyfriend, for instance, he just gets really, he thinks it's tedious to do a lot of reading and writing that he has to do many times, so he munches on something, even if it's like a carrot or something. So it's an association with something. Food becomes that association, and it's rarely, food is rarely just fuel, which is, what the body needs. Um, so why is that? So as I was saying about the babies and how we learn to associate food with changing of emotions or associated with celebration and stuff like that, food many times for many people, some people have no idea what that feels because there's there isn't that emotional connection to food. There isn't. So for the one of us who do have an emotional connection with food, a lot of people have used the food as the only comfort when they are feeling some type of emotion that is undesirable. So it's like, we see as I have a daughter that she just turned 21, and I remember, just came to my mind right now, that every time that something bad would happen to her, she would come to me and she would cry. And I would be very honest with her many times, and she would say, "Oh, so and so doesn't like me." I remember this was maybe one of the first things that I remember telling her. I don't know, she was maybe in third grade, fourth grade, maybe younger. And then she came to me and said, "Mommy, I don't know her name. Jenny said that she doesn't like me." And I looked at her and I said, "Well, a lot of people are not going to like you. And you're not going to like a lot of people. That's how it is." Uh, and then you teach that child how to deal with some frustration or something like that. Um, when somebody has a difficult time dealing with frustration, that's when their coping mechanisms fail. Some people will resort to getting angry. Some people will drink. Some people will go out for a jog and come down. Some people will eat. Some people will use drugs, and and then it's just like it's normal. It's not like it's anything wrong with that. It's normal. But unfortunately, some people have a predisposition. Same thing that it is with alcohol and drugs and food, to get emotionally attached to it. Just like, how come some people can drink alcohol and don't become alcoholics? How come some people, can have a main surgery and they're in pain and they are prescribed Vicodin and they do not get addicted to it? How come some people, become addicted and dependent on food? It's still sort of a mystery, but there are some um, hypotheses and some studies done on how to reduce that. One thing we do know is that there's a pleasure center in the brain that, when is activated, it's like a learning process. So the food when we eat, that is that we are eating because we are feeling like some negative emotion, and automatically that negative emotion transforms in something good, because you said, "No, you're just like giving yourself something that you think is going to comfort you," and it does, right? So your brain learns that. So some people just get really conditioned, and some people get confused about what is emotional eating. So, "I never eat when I'm sad." I never eat when I'm sad. When I'm sad, I don't want to see food. But when I am stressed out for something, I want to eat, and ain't too anxious, I want to eat. And so that reduces the level of anxiety or stress at the moment. And so whenever I feel stressed, your brain already learns, okay, that's the emotion coming, that's the outcome I want. Where's my food to calm myself down? So it is hard because you become dependent on it. And of course, if you are stressed, your body is going to release a lot of cortisol as well, which your metabolism slows down. So you're not only not losing weight because you're eating the calories, but you're also gaining weight because you are retaining those calories because your metabolism slows down. So it's like a lose-lose situation, right? So my dissertation is trying to use HRV biofeedback, which stands for heart rate variability biofeedback. What is biofeedback? Biofeedback is when the patient is using their own body as a feedback to themselves with the use of a computer or some sort of equipment. So in this case with the HRV, heart rate variability, the machine is going to show you how your heart rate is varying, basically how it's going up and down. It's not like going up and down, it's the space between two heartbeats, and how it's the higher point, which is the peak, and the valleys, which is the lower point. So the higher the peaks and lower the valleys, that means that you are in better health. So how do you affect your body? So here's what it is. You have in your body the central nervous system that has two systems. It has a parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous systems. You guys all heard about the flight or fight, and that's controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic, some big stressor happens, and this is like when we were cavemen. If you're walking around, it's just like an automatic thing. You're walking around down, jungle, the savannah, or whatever you were walking around, and then you hear noise. You don't have really a lot of time to think about, well, what is this noise? And kind of think about, is that dangerous? It's not dangerous. You react pretty quickly. Your body will react. What the body does, the sympathetic kicks in to prepare you. If you have to fight, you are physically prepared to it. If you have to fly, it's also prepared. So it kind of reduces, actually not reduce, it reduces the temperature on the extremities and increases the circulation in your body, and kind of stops the gut from working, and kind of also kind of like protects a lot of the area, the main organs. It's protecting that area, so you can just take off. Today, what are the stresses? We're not running from a lion. There are parts of the world, unfortunately, that they're not animals that are attacking you. They are the human beings. But for the normal day city folk, it's basically stress because of work or finances or relationship, right? That's what stresses people out a lot, and especially in the United States, that need to be optimum and be the best, and that instant gratification. You want the stuff to happen now, and that's the moment. So when this happens, your sympathetic nervous system activates and the sympathetic lowers. So, but what happens if there's too many stressors all the time, and you are a person who tends to worry too much? Because even when you're worrying too much and thinking about problems too much, that makes your sympathetic nervous system also activated. Think about a movie. If you go to a movie theater and you're watching, like, let's say, James Bond movie, and stuff is happening, sometimes I catch myself like, oh my God, you're just looking and you're kind of feeling those emotions because your mind is so good at creating images. And your body doesn't know if it's really happening or if it's your imagination. So the body is going to react to that all the time. So how do you solve that problem from the physiological perspective? Forget about emotions or trying to stop to think about it. So physically, what happens? It was discovered that a certain rate, a certain frequency of breathing, of slow breathing, can affect the main nerve in the parasympathetic system, which is the vagus nerve, which is also a nerve that controls your gut. And it was discovered that if you breathe at a certain pace, meaning like between 5, sometimes people have lower, like 4 to 8 times per minute, you can actually strengthen that nerve, which is going to make your parasympathetic system a little stronger and able to kind of, it's not that you want the parasympathetic to work more, but you want an equilibrium. You want homeostasis, equilibrium between those two systems. If one is too slow or the other one is too active, it's not good. You need equilibrium. So it was discovered that when you breathe at a certain pace, you can affect your heart rate. So usually when you breathe in, your heart rate goes up. When you breathe out, the heart rate goes in, and then it's always out of sync. But when you do the breathing on this on a certain pace, you're gonna start seeing, both heart rate and breathing in the same pace. What does that do? It not only, it gives you the right amount of oxygen and CO2 in your body to, clear up your brain. Your brain needs oxygen, to be able to have a good cognition. But the breathing is slowing down your entire system. So let's say you will get really stressed out, you get really anxious, your brain starts getting really nervous, and the brain wants to come down. The brain wants to come down the body. And what does the person with emotional eating do? They are going to eat something which is going to calm them down. And the brain said, great, that's awesome. But again, as I said, it's just like you are just conditioned to think that food is what you need. When you are actually able to do something else, you can teach or reteach your brain that you don't really need that. So whenever you get stressed out, instead of eating, if you do this breathing, you're going to focus on that moment where you are stressed out without trying to not deal with it and trying to eat something just to forget about it, and then you never deal with that stressor. Every time it comes back, it's not going to be solved because you are just like perpetuating that situation. So when you actually allow your body to sit down, you are breathing in and out, so you are affecting your sympathetic system, which is slowing down all the nerves in your body and helping your heart rate to, slow down. You are actually teaching your brain another way to cope with stressor. Though your brain, you're going to say, where's my food? Where's my food? You might, in the beginning, you just want to think about the food and you get obsessed about it. But at some point, just like, oh, okay, every time you get stressed out, you are doing this breathing, and then I get calmer, so there's no danger, so I don't need anything else, so that's cool. So every time you get stressed out, when you just start breathing, automatically you come down. So why is this important? Why am I using this for emotional eating? Because I feel that people who emotionally eat, they did not learn coping mechanism to deal with frustration, with stress, with anxiety. They just want to get rid of that horrible feeling and get something good. And what better than something that's right there, instant gratification, some food that calms you down and reminds you when you were a little baby. Not really reminds you, but the body kind of have that memory of, oh, okay, I'm being held, I have been fed when I was a baby, and food is always good. Oh, food is always related to celebration with everything good, so food is awesome. So usually people who eat, drink, or use drugs, or even like an OCD people that they think, they need to, I don't know, clean all the time, so that's going to help them calm down. This is an avoidance behavior. That's something that you are avoiding. You are avoiding that feeling by doing something else. And when I'm proposing what the theories that I'm studying are proposing is that instead of avoiding, instead of running away from that scares you, from that makes you uncomfortable, if you learn how to handle it, that discomfort eventually is going to slow down with time. And then that's not going to be such a big problem in your life anymore. So that's that. So basically, and it's not like only any type of breathing. Every person has a different frequency where the breathing can affect the heart. So that's why you do the biofeedback. You connect the person to the machine, and then they are able to see it, that specific pace of breathing. In my case, if I breathe 5.5 breaths per minute, I affect my breathing. So I am doing this lately. I am using biofeedback to reduce when I have any cravings. I haven't had any cravings lately. I'm really focused. I mean, I just had the sleeve, so it's easier in the beginning, right? So but I'm using that as tool to help me out. And that's what I'm trying to say. What is the purpose of this video? It's like, you know, if anybody is around either Orange County, San Diego, or LA, when I get ready to, you know, to recruit participants, you guys are more than welcome to participate. But I will try to teach you how to slow down. The purpose of this video is trying to help you understand that the eating is trying to, the emotional eating, it's a way that you're trying to avoid an uncomfortable feeling that is not going to go away just because you're doing something else. You know, there's some people who they're, the majority of their, you know, skills for dealing with emotion is more I don't want to say it's better, but it's just, it works better for them. It's not that they're better than anybody else, but there are those people who, based on their own emotions, based on their personalities, based on the families they were born in, based on the country they were born in, based on the culture they were born in, affects them. And it's how they've learned to cope with life. So, but what I want to say is that it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a sentence that you carry around for the rest of your life. You know, for the ones of us who have the weight loss surgery, we have a physical tool that's going to help us reduce the portion sizes, but that's all. Everything else, it's in our control. You know, people think like, oh, I'm out of control because I'm eating by emotion, and then you're trying to control. Yes, you are actually, you're not out of control. You are controlling your emotions by doing something that you actually don't want to, but you are controlling. What if you try to do something else? So be open, you know, to something like that. Maybe there are some therapies that can help. There are friendships, there are support groups. I can, you know, I'll offer you some ideas. You know, if you just want to ask me, I can tell, you know, this type of study has been done or something like that. Again, I'm not offering to be nobody's psychologist at all, or therapist or anything. I'm just trying to share knowledge. That's all I want to do. So anyway, think about that. Like, emotional eating is not a death sentence. Any cravings, it's not, you know, death sentence. There are ways around it, and it might be uncomfortable. It's not easy, but it's possible. So anyway, I talk too much. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to contact me and ask questions. I'll be more than happy to answer all of them. Okay, so guys, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I am studying my butt off here, but I'll try my best to come back as often as I can to make videos. All right, okay, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.